today we are with a very special individual here. His name is Sotalo, if I am pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
So, we are at his most amazingest piece of work that he has created. This is the Virtual Furry Museum. He has spent. How long have you spent, by the way, making this world so far?
I lost count. I lost track.
Oh,
Since work began in around October of 2022, and it's been in continual development through now, and it still has a long way to go.
there you go. So far you have made a very huge top area that is absolutely fascinating. You have added in a whole bunch of amazing artworks from this fandom, from various eras and various types. We've got various things from digital artworks to physical, even some pictures of fursuiters, which are amazing. I am absolutely
Oh, well,
stunned
thank you
by
so much.
the amount of work you've put into that. So, what gave you the
Thank
idea
you.
of making a museum in VR chat?
Well, so I had a trip to MoMA, in New York when I was going to visit my cousin, and I really wanted to go to see a museum to get some inspiration, something that would help me in my art.
Oh.
Uh, unfortunately, and it was a contemporary museum. It was a modern museum. It
Hmm.
was MoMA, uh, and it was nice, and the art was lovely, but there was hardly any furry stuff in there. There was hardly
Hmm.
any anthros in there, and it felt like there was a voice missing. Our voice.
Ah.
Um, so it was so strange to have this museum of contemporary artwork and modern artwork that was completely absent of the furry voice. So I wanted to make a museum that was just our voice. It was just it was by us. It was for us. It is the virtual furry museum.
You've done an amazing job of capturing that, bud. Um, honestly,
Thank you. Thank you very
um,
much.
he has added in quite a lot of work, and as you have said many times, you've got a bit more to go. But as they always say,
Oh yeah.
patience is a virtue, and we will see what he has to offer in the future. We've
Yeah.
also got,
So I could announce. I mean, I
if you
could
want to,
actually say like, what's coming. Yeah. So there is a new floor coming to the museum. I had shown my friends around. I had also shown a few people around who are involved with the project,
hmm,
and people who were selected. And we have VR chat avatars, but we don't have VR chat worlds.
hmm,
And this area, this bottom floor, is going to be dedicated to the worlds of furry. And a lot of it is going to be focused on very worlds that are very, very, very furry centric, worlds that are very, very, very important for our subculture, our community. It is um, it's not just going to be popular worlds by furries. It's going to be worlds that have something innately and impressively so to do with our fandom.
hmm, that is pretty good. So, one of the things I think is impressive is how much of a scale this is that you have accomplished. We've got a very big top area up there filled with all kinds of art. And then you've got this downstairs area that you have so far added in a memorial to Cy Sable, if I'm pronouncing it right. And for
Yes,
anyone,
Mark Silas Sable Merlino.
there you go. And he has made an amazing job of this beautiful creation. This is probably the most advanced and probably the most impressivest thing I have seen all year when it comes to VR chat, when it comes to worlds.
Oh,
You have added in
oh.
something amazing and done something in a way for the fandom and for an individual that has made this fandom what it is today. Hey.
Thank you. I mean, with regards to Silas, he was my best friend, and I was his for
Hmm.
a whole year after he we we were working on the history exhibit upstairs together.
Oh.
After that, we continued hanging out. Um, and he really loved just logging in, coming to see me, and he just loved being with me and whatever we were doing. I was having a weekly movie night, and I was showing, you know,
Yeah.
furry just different movies that uh, I think we should all appreciate.
Yeah.
And he loved that because that was very similar to what he was doing with the CFO.
Yeah,
Um,
that reminds me of the
and I
early
think,
furry fandom, for what I heard.
yeah, and I think I think there's not that many people who were maybe as interested in the conversation of what makes furry like happen, like why are we here? And
There you go.
I may have filled that for him.
Oh.
So yeah, it wasn't just we lost, and I said it in my speech. If anyone heard
Hmm.
the memorial speech that I gave for him at his remembrance ceremony,
Yeah.
uh, we didn't just lose the guy who made the first furry convention, or the guy
Yeah.
who made, uh, the CFO, the very first anime fan club in America.
Hmm.
We lost one of our greatest minds.
Yeah.
And Silas meant a lot to so many people, and I'm now realizing what an honor it was to really have him as a friend. But of course, at the time when we first met, he was the guy who, like, the museum was almost done, it was almost finished, it was almost ready to be released, and then now we have to like double the project to put
Oh
in
gosh.
the history of the fandom. Oh God,
Oh. Well,
yeah,
you've definitely blown
yeah.
that out of the water in a lot of ways. You've added in a whole bunch of beautiful features when it comes to that. I love the fact that you've got a whole bunch of the pictures of the original um, things from the original cons, as well as all the way back to said film events. Those are impressive. Good job on that, bud.
Yeah, thank you. So Silas recommended me the conference archive,
Oh.
and I was struggling to figure out how to make that exhibit happen. Yeah, so this is a live projector. A lot of people do get surprised,
Mm.
but yeah, the camera turns on when you're uh, visible and able to see it. It turns off when you're further away,
Ah.
so it's
Resource management.
nice and optimized.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can actually zoom it in and out. There's a little slider down here.
Yep.
Um, and there's a
Mm.
lot of sharpening happening on a lot of this text
Mm.
uh, and a lot of the artwork. This is Steve Martin. I
Conference.
actually met him at Silas's memorial.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I actually held this in my hand. I can get you that photo. I
Oh.
actually held this
The
this
original.
document. I held it in my hand. This con book. Yes.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and I had left off that cover by default so people can see we actually do have some of Silas's writings in here too. This is a little piece that he wrote about the fandom, trying to explain what furry is and what a furry convention is, to try and get people to join and show up. It's uh, it's quite awesome.
That is
Well,
amazing.
it is awesome to be able to have his words here.
That's
Um,
amazing.
the main convention, the conference zero. Uh, I mean, this is actually, I think, the most important piece in here on this table. This is a
Wow.
list of every every discussion group that was had at the very first furry convention. So we can see a glimpse into the kind of topics that they cared about and discussed. It's quite impressive, actually. And they had it broken down by species, just like we do. Canid meeting, feline meeting, felid meeting, mustelid meeting, ungulate meeting, reptilian and avian meeting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then they had various different art sections. So yeah, personal furries, which is basically personas. There's an inking workshop, so some art things. Furries and gender.
Oh,
In 1989, that's quite fascinating.
that's amazing.
Yes, genetics.
Huh.
Um,
Yeah, that's
so
impressive.
like when you look at this, it's like, yeah, that's the fur convention.
Yeah,
But then you get reminded it's 1989. This is before the internet.
yeah.
Like, yeah, furries existed before the internet.
Oh,
Yeah, if I wanted to cover everything Silas did, I wouldn't be able to. It would take the presentation that I give is like an hour long.
that's amazing.
But on the left, you have the Lost Con 7, which is just one of the science fiction conventions that Silas attended, which had um, a lot of anthro artist and art show. And that was actually the convention where he met Rod O'Reilly, his
Oh,
partner of almost 44 years, well, 43 plus years.
that's amazing.
Yeah, and then on the right is a furry party poster that he made, the oldest one that he has, 1985, hosting a furry party, yeah, right outside of a convention.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of the early gatherings were in very small furry parties in just hotel rooms.
Yeah, room parties.
There wasn't real there was yeah the room parties there wasn't enough to
Yeah, to have an
people to
entire
really
event.
have a convention.
Yeah.
And in other videos and stuff,
Hmm.
but the very first furry convention, Silas sent out 1,000 postcards. Well, him and his
Wow.
small team, yeah, sent out 1,000 postcards, like including Rod and
Yeah.
I think Ken Sample and others, uh, and they got 100 registrations that came back,
Yep.
but only 60 people showed up
Yeah.
at the actual event.
That's pretty impressive, though.
So, but over the years,
Yeah.
they got more and more people, and it peaked in Conference 9 with over 1,200 attendees.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's an impressive number of postcards to manage to both sort and send. Did they have like someone back then that they ordered all those cards to be made by, or was it just all done by hand?
They had to, well,
Like I can imagine.
I mean, I didn't ask like
Okay.
exactly how they
That's
wrote all the postcards, but
yeah.
they I think they might have had something pre-made and then they
Yeah.
just wrote the names and addresses, but
Ah.
I don't
Yeah.
I can't imagine handwriting 1,000
Yeah.
custom cards to everyone. That's a lot of work.
I'm guessing they got them locally printed by some press in the town. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah, I mean
this one, yes,
the very first
yeah,
the very first anime fan club in America. A lot of people didn't realize that at one point in time, Silas was responsible for every single anime tape in America. I think I mentioned it earlier in the
yeah,
interview, but yeah,
That's
the
impressive.
um
Hmm.
yeah, no, he's if you turn the back of this, it's
Oh.
actually a list of what they actually watched, as well as the show times and when they were starting the events. Um,
That's amazing.
yeah, and if you look on the bottom, you'll see like this little legend for whether the show was in English or in
Oh.
Japanese, yeah, or subtitled. And like most of what you're seeing here is just in Japanese.
Oh yeah, I guarantee it.
No English. Yeah, no subtitles, no
They managed to get a copy
English.
of them imported to the US, I'm guessing, straight from Japan.
Well, no, they actually recorded off of the TV on
Oh.
Unimax tapes.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That's impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, if like I held in my hands the fandom directory,
Hmm.
which had like the names of everyone as well as their phone numbers and addresses.
Oh
So it was
wow.
like if you wanted to write to anyone, if you wanted to send something to anyone,
You
if you
could
wanted
have.
to call anyone,
Yeah.
you just you get the directory and then it's basically a phone, almost a phone book
Oh wow.
for the fandom. Yeah.
That.
So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
that's what this is, by the way. It was
Hmm.
kind of a directory of everyone in the CFO,
Oh yeah.
but they removed the names
Yeah.
because they kind
That.
of didn't want
Yeah.
that
Yeah. That's
information
that's
just
all.
going out.
Yeah, that's all understandable. But still, that's beautiful. You've got it down to the T with this entire video player here, almost the zoom function and all that.
Ye-
Perfect. Yeah.
So when I first made the museum, originally it wasn't going to have anything interactive. It was a museum. You go in, you see the pictures, you go out.
Hmm.
But then I realized, well, what happens if people get bored? And like they need something to do. There needs to be some interactivity in
Hmm.
there. So in every single room of the museum, there is something that you can grab, something that you can play with, something you can do. And people can come in, and every single time they love to throw the basketball in the hoop, and they like to play with the glow sticks. Uh,
Hmm.
and they'll play with the food upstairs. A lot of people really like just tossing the bread
Brib.
around.
Brib.
Um,
Oh.
but yeah, no, that whole display, being able to put the old furry documents in there and then zoom it in all the way and see all the details.
It's
Uh,
amazing.
it, that's an experience
Hmm.
that Silas personally loved. He said the way it was displayed and presented was so clever.
Well, you've definitely
And
made him
he said
proud.
that quite a few times.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Silas said there's two great places to learn about the history of the fandom. The fandom documentary by Ash Coyote
Hmm.
and this museum.
Oh, true.
and
There you go.
and there was someone who wanted to learn the history of the fandom and spent a month trying to study the history on his own. Just trying to search through the internet, see what he can find.
Hmm.
Uh, he learned more in half an hour, me giving a presentation here in this museum,
Wow.
than he had in a month trying to learn on his own.
Yeah. That's impressive. You've compressed
And
so
yeah,
much into such a
yeah.
simple thing, but such a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I tried.
You have
I tried.
succeeded. That's what you have done. You have succeeded
Yeah.
in doing something very amazing. You've gotten a very beautiful
Thank
world up
you.
here. You've got a memorial to someone who means a lot to this fandom. You've out succeeded yourself. Good on you. So,
I
yeah.
yeah. Thank you.
Do you wish to
Thank
talk
you very
about anything
much.
about
I don't know what to
yourself
say.
if you want to?
I
Like,
mean, uh,
how you got into this fandom, or up to you?
how I got into the fandom is a story. I mean,
It's a long
it's
one.
quite a story. I don't know.
Ah,
It's a
okay.
long one, yeah.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, like, but the long story short, I've been a furry my whole life. I absolutely loved the animal media, and I still recall very, very vividly uh, when I was in kindergarten, we could read any book we wanted. And I was
Oh,
looking at all the books that they had. There was um, a lot of rather dark and depressing characters and covers and
oh,
very dramatic books and new like the what is it, the Mulberry Prize winner or whatever, the Newbery Prize winner, where someone dies always all the time.
yikes!
And then there was the the Berenstain Bears.
I've
And
heard
it's
of
like,
them.
okay, my life was sad enough. Let's go with the Bears.
Hmm.
And it was wonderful. Like,
Yeah.
I read every single book that they had. I read like hundreds of books that year alone. So I read more than one book a day.
Hmm.
Uh, it granted it was short, but it was still an entire book. And I was
Yeah.
in kindergarten. Like there were people in kindergarten who could not read, and
Damn.
here I am reading hundreds of books. Yeah, uh,
You're
and
above your level when it comes to reading, then.
I mean, I really loved. Well, I think I would say that I didn't really love fiction actually. But I loved the Berenstain Bears for some reason.
Hmm.
Um,
Just connected
I
with you.
think that whole idea, well, your life, like they're living their life just furry.
Hmm.
They're just, and I love that. But also it was a kind of life that was very idyllic, and it was the kind of life that I kind of wish I had.
Ah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's just one aspect, guys. There's like so many other things to come into
I
it.
could
I,
imagine.
I formally joined. I formally joined. Like I followed artists for since 2004. But I didn't formally join until after I had lost both my parents. Um,
Oh.
and yeah, YouTube finally recommended me the furry videos, like Fluke Husky and
Oh my
Majora
gosh.
Strawberry, and I followed and watched all those, and I'm like, yep, I'm a furry now.
There you go.
And then
Hmm.
I dove in. Yeah,
There you go, bud.
I wish my one regret is I wish I joined sooner. If I joined
Hmm.
when I was a kid, I probably could have found more people like me and who thought like me, and were on the same mindset and level,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't have felt so alone.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard a lot of people say that have been around lately, who've grown up with this sort of stuff available to them. I was a more isolated kid. I grew up in the country with barely any internet or anything, so it's kind of a challenge to get any kind of internet connection to anyone. So most of my life, I kind of grew up with these feelings, but never really were able to or capable of exploring them. So yeah, but I'm glad I
It's a good
am
thing
here.
New Zealand has internet now.
Oh yeah, it has plenty of
Yeah.
internet,
Oh,
both wired and mobile data wise. Anywho's, it's been
I'm glad you're here
amazing.
too.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's been amazing so far with everything that you have accomplished. I can't wait to see what you are
Thank
up
you.
to next. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess I could give like a bit of a sneak peek into the new floor. Um, so one
Up
of
to you.
the exhibits coming in, yeah, one of the exhibits coming in is the furry family of Frenda. It's
Oh.
a world that is currently run by Chenka Husky, but it has
Hmm.
quite a lineage going through the original Ofrenda that Peach Clover set up at MeFit Fermi
Oh.
uh, to physical Ofrendas that uh, Silas actually set up at PawCon and various conventions. And then
Oh.
Chenga Husky got the idea to make a world that inspired Krayik to make a world for Confer, which he then gave back to Changa. Um,
Oh.
and then with the assistance of Brain Freeze Pup, they were able to kind of create this whole database of furries who passed away. And
That's amazing.
the it is an incredible world, very emotional one too,
Hmm.
uh, very powerful. Um, I think it's one of the greatest vestibules of the fandom,
Hmm.
and so that is going to be one of the worlds featured uh,
Yeah.
in the new space. And I actually imported the entire world, and you'll be able to see it in here. You
Yeah.
won't be able to see all the names, but you'll be able to see it uh, in the museum.
That'll be impressive. You're
Yeah,
accomplishing quite an impressive feat. With that all said, is there any final things you wish to say for the audience?
I feel like this interview could go longer.
Oh yeah, good.
I
We
feel
could
like
be
there's
here all
so much
day.
more we could talk about.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I guess I mean, if we want to, I feel like everything that there's so much more that I wish I could say about Silas.
Hmm.
And the kind of person that he was. I know this interview is about me, and but in the face of losing our founding father,
Hmm.
uh, there is so much that can be said. I'm
Yeah.
kind of drawing blanks with what to say. There's so much that can and should be said. He was an amazing individual. He was a great friend. I
I learned
absolutely loved
something.
him.
Legends, legends never die. You've given a good place to remember him for who he was.
I
Yeah.
hope legends never die.
Hmm.
I hope we can continue to remember him for the man he truly was.
Hmm.
I can say this: I've had quite a few friends, and he's had quite a few friends who believed that he was a different kind of person
Hmm.
because they desperately wanted him to be a different kind of person.
Hmm.
And when he wasn't, that did kind of irk people. Like he
Yeah.
was in a poly relationship with uh multiple people. Back in the 70s, he was in a
Yeah.
poly relationship with two African Americans.
Oh.
Um, at the time, that was in our country. Uh,
It
it,
was a bit of a taboo.
it
Hmm.
well a decade prior there was
Yeah.
Bloody Sunday.
Uh.
Like people didn't even believe that African Americans deserved the right to vote,
Ah.
um, let alone to be married
Ah.
uh, with
Yeah.
someone in a poly relationship, like someone
Yeah.
who's gay. Uh,
Hmm.
so it was like many taboos, social taboos at the time,
Hmm.
and he just experienced a whole ton of love from his family, from his chosen family and his real family. His parents loved him, and
Well,
he
that's
said
good.
the one thing that he felt he never connected with others was uh, his family loved him.
Hmm.
And there's so many furries whose families didn't show them the same support.
Hmm.
I feel that love that he got, he wanted to share it with the world, and
Ah.
he didn't want anyone, no matter
Who they
what
were.
furry meant to them.
Yeah.
He didn't want to hinder them, their ability to love whatever they wanted to love. So
Yeah.
he that was the kind of person that he was.
I think he
He wanted
understood
to
what it was
invite
like to
everyone into the
be
fandom.
cared about. Yeah. So,
Hmm?
how have you felt about making this world now that you've gotten this far? Have you felt
Um,
a feeling of relief?
it's it's kind of strange. When I first started, it was like everything was starry-eyed and wonderful. But it grew to be quite a challenge.
Mm,
Um, it was kind of hard to stay starry-eyed through all of it.
yeah.
But coming out of it and seeing how many people absolutely loved it, it's like this world went on to inspire others.
Mm.
There, I just heard that there was a couple who met in this museum,
Oh.
proposed in this museum,
Oh my
got
gosh.
married, and now they make fursuits.
That is just
So
beautiful. That is so sweet.
the
There you go.
that is one story.
Yeah.
I mean, there over and over again, the museum is inspiring people and it's bringing people together, and I absolutely love that. But
Yeah.
uh, for a while, if like just the people who knew me probably knew there were moments where I didn't even come in here
Mm.
for a bit after Silas passed away, because that just everything reminded me of him, and this
Yeah.
museum reminded me of him. So it was a little bit
Understandable.
challenging to get through that, but
Yeah.
uh, yeah, no, I think uh, the for what it does and for the number of people that it helps, and for everyone who loves the museum, I do it for them.
There you go. And you're doing something amazing for everyone here. And I think Sai would be proud of that. You're giving people
Oh,
something to be happy about, but also you've created a bit of a group that allows people to just come back into the fandom in a way that's both old and new combined. Hmm.
that is one thing that actually I want to say. We need to make VR chat more accessible.
Hmm.
VR in general should be more accessible. Like this stuff should be. It is.
Hmm.
It. I've already said it quite a few times. It is virtually impossible to get this level of tech
Yeah.
and this much textures and this much stuff running on Quest,
Yeah.
and all of the getting the history document projector to work on Quest. There's so many things that wouldn't function.
Yeah.
So there's a certain portion of the population. It's quite difficult. They don't
Yeah.
have a gaming computer to get in here.
Hmm.
I'm. It is my hope that in the future this technology becomes more accessible, more affordable.
Exactly.
Right now, there's a $200 headset,
Yeah.
the Quest 2,
Yeah.
right now. So, it, like,
Hmm.
I want to see
Technology
uh,
get a bit better.
the. I want to see VR become like a town square. I want to
Exactly.
see. I want to see the little old ladies book club in VR chat. I want to see that.
That's possible. That is doable.
I,
Um.
I
Yeah.
want the technology to be so easy and so accessible that
Yeah.
that kind of thing would just be normal.
You could imagine
And then
something.
when we're at that point, people can come in here who aren't furries and
Mm,
learn about the fandom.
exactly.
More. I want more people to actually learn who
Yeah.
we really are.
Exactly. Something I'm seeing with technology at the moment is, for instance, I know that Steam has patents. That's all I'm going to really go into details for a standalone VR headset. In theory, that could run this world. It wouldn't run as smoothly as
Oh,
PC VR, but it would run quite well enough that you could be able to explore it.
yeah.
This is probably the most.
Yeah.
Dude, explain the Rainbow Bridge. You said
Oh yes.
you
So
explained it to me.
yeah, It's a poem by I believe it's an Irish poet. I wrote her name down on the plaque over there, but
Ah.
uh, she described a rainbow bridge that connects heaven and earth, um, and it connects directly to this beautiful meadow where your fallen pets you can meet your fallen pets once again. Um, there wasn't anything in Christian literature that said, "Oh yeah, pets are definitely going to heaven." It was all about saving human souls.
Mm.
So she kind of bridged that gap
That is
where
beautiful.
now our pets do have a place in heaven, and
Mm.
we do have a place in the afterlife for our fallen animal friends.
Mm.
So that's
That is a
the
beautiful
concept of
thing.
the Rainbow Bridge. Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we continue onward?
There's well, yeah, but the one more cool thing.
Yep.
You, like everything on this bridge is parallaxing and moving in different directions,
Oh.
and there's no straight lines like on the rails. So when you're walking, you literally have no idea how fast you're walking because
Oh.
there's nothing
Yeah, I've noticed that.
there's nothing telling you.
Yeah, when
It,
I
it
walk
just feels
forwards.
timeless. Hmm.
That's amazing.
I
Size
mean,
statue.
the big giant fan, the 7,164 martins, all
Yeah.
holding a glowing orb, changing color and lighting up.
It's just
And then,
amazing.
yeah, the Infinity Scroll, which goes and wraps all the way around.
Yeah.
Um, statue of Silas in the middle,
What?
holding the Eternal Flame.
Oh, it's a flame. I thought it was an egg.
Yes,
But that's beautiful.
an egg. It could
Yeah.
be an egg. That's the thing. I like people are seeing different things in it,
Hmm.
which I just envision it as a shape. And then when
Hmm.
I have to explain it to people, like the first person who saw it called it an eternal flame, and I'm like, okay, I guess we'll go with that.
Okay.
But it's yeah, it is.
That
It's
is actually a good way of looking at it.
it's just something that I feel.
Hmm.
I have no explanation for this stuff. People ask me for an explanation, I have to give one. But
Hey, Bird, that's
yeah,
art. You've
I mean,
created
one
something
thing
you
I can
felt.
say, all of the colors in the room are reflected in the uh in that thing he's holding, and it's like he's connecting everyone together, and he made this fandom, and he brought us all together to be a part of it.
You've really captured that in an
And then of
amazing
course
way.
I have, oh, thank you.
Hmm.
And then I have this plaque, which looks very scratched up from all the furries who had come here to read it and pay their respects.
Hmm.
um, yeah, this it kind of gives a little bit of the story of who Silas is, and then uh, the fact that he did pass away.
Hmm.
Um, like my connection with him. So like how it's not just a random person doing this project. It was someone who actually was his friend.
Someone who cared a
Um,
lot. Yeah.
yeah, and someone who was there, and also some technical information about the room itself. Oh, and yeah, please be respectful.
Hmm.
Please respect this place and each other as we come together to honor a great legend and a great friend.
He sure was a great friend to you. and you were a great friend back.
Absolutely.
I,
Absolutely.
I wouldn't expect
I
anyone to have done this for me. Like, it's amazing.
I mean, the number of people that told Silas their life was saved by the fandom.
Hmm.
He grew tired of hearing it. I mean, he loved hearing it, but he grew tired of hearing it.
Yeah.
Um, he's heard it that many times. He's
Oh,
heard it that many times.
wow.
Um,
Then,
so
yeah.
obviously, he meant a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's not just because of the fandom, but because of what he did to bring people together. Uh, and just the person that he was, and uh, how uh, overjoyed he was, and how fascinated he was. Just what kind of a wonderful fan he was of all
Hmm.
this. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
This is just amazing.
yeah. So the scroll is actually let you're in New Zealand. I'm in Florida. Let's go ahead and on this line. Let's put our fingers
It's
pretty close.
perfectly in. To me, it's perfectly synced.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. It
It
shows you
syncs
how
to me.
impressive you got
Perfectly
synced
synced.
so that you can read the same thing at the same time. Good job.
Yeah.
It's amazing
All of
amount
these
of
stories.
stories. You said how many stories did you say it
Yeah,
was about
and
8 or so far?
well, so right now we have 12,
Oh my
but there's
gosh.
more people writing. There's more stories coming in. I'm still waiting on more people to get back with me.
Okay.
And I am reaching out to as many people as I can, who actually knew Silas in his life.
Mm.
Um, the yeah, for everyone who comes in here, I ask for a story,
Mm.
and I let them know that the final is going to be like two paragraphs, 2 to 3 paragraphs.
Mm.
Um, and so some people will have a very short story. Some people will have a very long one. They'll write a book, and then I'll paraphrase it. I'll trim it down to a story, and
Mm.
then whatever paraphrasing, grammar corrections I make sure that they approve it
Yeah.
before going forward. And in some cases, we'll even verify information to make sure that we don't have wrong information going in here,
Mm.
even if it's kind of goes in Silas's favor. We still want everything in the museum to be accurate.
Exactly.
Um,
Totally
yeah,
respect that.
yeah.
Yeah. And then you got the 4 stones over here, which are
Oh,
quite
yeah.
impressive. I actually love how you've got this set up. It's
Thank you.
monumental.
Yeah, no,
We've got
the
the
stones are kind of
hmm?
hmm?
Gone.
Yeah, no, the stones are kind of set up like the Rosetta Stone,
Ah,
or at
yeah,
least that was the inspiration for it.
yeah.
Which a translation between ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs to uh, Greek, and I think Sumerian, but it's the Greek text that a lot of the translations are made uh, from from the hieroglyphs. And I don't know why I thought of that for the stones, but it's
Hmm.
just sort of like this is the biography by me, and it's not so much a biography of the things he did in his life as it is the kind of person that he was and
Hmm.
certain core tenets and principles. There's like an overview at the beginning with the legend, um, and then the next one is all about acceptance and affinity, sort of how much he accepted people and the things that he did that were taboo, but he received that acceptance in his life, and he wanted that acceptance to be. received by others.
Ah,
And I'm still working on the organization of these because
still a bit of work
it
to go.
kind of fills in. Well, it spills into the next stone, fanship and conventions, which is just
Ah,
like how much he loved fans and
hmm,
how much conventions played a huge role in his social sphere,
hmm,
just what he wanted to do for his whole life. Um, and then of course ending on the greatest fan.
yeah.
Uh, like there's so many aspects of his life though that I
You'd
could
be
easily have
here.
like 10 stones in here. I could
Yeah.
have 12 stones. I could have 20.
Hmm,
There's like no end, and that's why
hmm,
it's so difficult to narrow it down. Like what is most important? So I tried to pick some things that people didn't really realize and things that were very important
hmm.
to what makes furry furry and not something else like the anime fandom.
Yeah.
What is it that separates us from other fandoms, and what is it that separates him as the guy who made the fandom
Yep.
from other people?
You've done an amazing job of that. So far, you've been both making, showing, and improving everything that you've got here.
Oh,
And
thank you so
for
much.
everyone who's been watching, I've seen this guy putting all
Oh,
of this together, parts of it.
yeah.
What I will say, watching him both build, fail, and then redesign, and then succeed is amazing. You've got an amazing both a
Oh,
sense of perseverance to go keeping going through it. Even though I know it was tough, I knew you could be able to do it. You were able to do it. Good on you, bud.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
There's, I guess there's one more thing I'd like to mention.
Go on.
Um, yeah, so if we just take a look at, because I've heard it a few times from
Yep.
some people who are aware of the skill tear, but Silas's model,
Hmm.
um, and this is the model that Silas had.
Yep.
Changa gave it to me to put in the
Oh.
museum.
Oh.
Um, and he did have the antenna and the little skill tear antenna.
Hmm.
Uh, but Silas Sable, the character Silas Sable, was
Hmm.
not a skill tear.
Oh.
Yeah, he was. I Oh gosh, I'm feeling some emotions again.
That's okay, bud.
But yeah, no. The he was a martin. He was a sable. Uh,
Huh.
he didn't have the antenna for his main character.
Wasn't a skill tier.
Not so. Yeah, coming to represent him in the museum, I figured, well, a lot of people remember the glasses in
Yep.
VR chat, so I'll go ahead and I'll put the glasses on him. His he grew up a little bit since then, and now
Hmm.
he got a little bit older.
Hmm.
Uh, and yeah, that's I think just
Amazing.
sort of a very nice yeah representation of Silas.
You did an amazing job of that, bud. And hearing all that, it's just beautiful. People came together to help
Thank you
you
so
put this
much.
together, and I'm both glad to see it, and I'm glad to see how grateful
Oh,
you are for those that have helped you. Good job.
I mean, there's a lot of people in the museum. The museum is their work,
Hmm.
and then I'm just trying to do the best I can to make their work look as good as possible.
You have done
So
that.
it is a lot of work on my end. It is,
Yes.
but of course, like all of these stories, I didn't write these stories. They were written by all of the people who actually knew Silas in his life.
Mm.
I wrote the stones, but the number of people who helped and contributed to the museum is staggering.
Yeah.
And like Silas helped and contributed so much with the history exhibit.
Yeah.
Um,
You did great,
it
bud.
it is a little hard for me to be in this room for too long.
I understand.
It is still hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there is one thing I will say. Good job.
Thank you.
What I've been amazed by is internet speeds as of late. I'm able to talk to you in VR directly without very to little to no latency. So that shows you all.
Oh yeah. We're, like I'm
He's in Florida.
in the United States.
I'm in New
You're
Zealand.
in New Zealand. Yeah, it is actually almost 4 a.m. for me right now.
Yeah.
What time is it for you?
It is currently 7:56 p.m.
Like that's how vastly different the time zones are.
Yeah. And that's all
We're on
being
like almost
pinged.
opposite sides of the world.
It's being pinged through an optical fiber from my house all the way to a server, then to his house. That's impressive. And, of course, furries make the internet work. A lot of furries are also technicians in the internet. So there
We
you
are
go.
the internet.
There you go.
We are the internet.
With that all said, I think that's about it. Thank you for everyone who came today. I hope you did enjoy. I'll try to leave a link to this amazing person's VR chat world in the description for anyone who wishes to check it out. I hope you all have a brilliant day. So with that said, farewell everyone. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah.